Hello, everyone. My name is Moises Artemis Corpus, and today I'll be presenting about the Northern Mariana Islands and typhoons. Goal of this presentation is to inform people in the United States about typhoons and how they affect the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands and their inhabitants, to present different ways on how to help after a typhoon disaster. I'll also be explaining the difference between a typhoon, a hurricane, a cyclone, and the categories of a typhoon, and also some misconceptions about the CNMI and and the difference between the Commonwealth and a territory. So personally, I am not from the Northern Mariana Islands. However, my wife was born and raised in Saipan. She and her family were affected by both Typhoon Pseudolore and Typhoon Yutu. It is an honor to spark interest and conversation about this topic to my fellow class and others who will stumble upon this presentation. So, the Northern Mariana Islands comprise of 14 small islands. This beautiful archipelago is surrounded by pristine turquoise waters of the Pacific Ocean. 3 out of the 14 islands are inhabited, which are the following: Saipan, Tinian, and Rota. In total, there is over 55,000 who currently reside in the NMI. Unfortunately, this tropical paradise often faces typhoons year-round. So as you can see, the bottom two pictures are pictures of Saipan. And on the top left here, you see where Saipan is. There's Tinian, there's Rota. Guam is actually a US territory, so it's not part of the CNMI. The CNMI are basically Rota, Tinian, Saipan, and the rest of the archipelago islands over here. And they are Commonwealth. So as you can see here, this is another picture of the CNMI. And then this is a zoomed out picture right here. So this is right here is South Korea. So it's south of South Korea. It is east of the Philippines and north of Malaysia. And then right over here we have Hawaii. So it's really far west from Hawaii. So if you think about it in the big big world map with the United States in the middle, it's really far away from the United States. So what is a typhoon? According to National Ocean Service, a typhoon is described as a rotating, organized system of clouds and thunderstorms that originate over tropical, subtropical waters and has closed low-level circulation. So you may be saying, that sounds similar to a hurricane. Well, you'd be right, because the difference between a typhoon, a hurricane, and a cyclone is basically the origin of the storm. So if the storm originates from the North Atlantic, the Central North Pacific, and Eastern North Pacific, that would be considered a hurricane. Now, if it's in the South Pacific and or Indian Ocean, it's a cyclone. Typhoons originate in the Northwest Pacific. So as you can see, these storms are basically the same thing, just different origination. So over here, you got typhoon categories. So there's 5 categories. 5 is the worst at 157 miles per hour and greater. And the least dangerous is category 1 at 74 to 95 miles per hour. We'll be specifically talking about category 5s today. So I have a couple of typhoon category 5s here that have hit the NMI, but I'll only be talking specifically about Typhoon Pseudolore and Typhoon Yutu. So although there's only 5 here, that doesn't mean necessarily they only get hit with 5 typhoons the whole history. It's just the ones that I found, because Typhoon Karen was like the first, and Typhoon Mawar was the last. So last year they got hit with a Category 5 typhoon. So as you can see, typhoons are reoccurring, and these are just Category 5s. We're not even talking about 4, 3, 2, or 1. You know what I mean? So it's just something that I feel like needs to be brought to attention of what these United States citizens are suffering from. Even though they're far away, they should still be in our thoughts. And so Typhoon Pseudolore, August 2nd, 2015, according to the Washington Post, after blasting the Pacific island of Saipan, With wind gusts close to 100 miles per hour, Super Typhoon Soudelor is taking aim at Taiwan and China, now the equivalent of a Category 5 hurricane, and wind speeds of 178 miles per hour, and the strongest tropical cyclone yet in 2015. So as you can see here, uh, they use typhoon, hurricane, and cyclone in the same sentence when describing the same storm. So, like we talked about, this is a typhoon. That's why it's called Typhoon Soudelor. And although they use different names to categorize it on, which were incorrect, it's still a storm and a very strong one at that. And over here, I have a picture in Saipan. This is a picture that shows the devastation of Typhoon Soudelor. And as you can see, the tree branches have been taken apart. Some of them are on the ground. This house has been completely taken apart. I don't even know what to tell you what was over here, but I do know for sure these houses that they make in Saipan, most of them are concrete. So when you go shopping for houses there, they're going to be made of concrete because of the frequent hits of typhoon. You can't have the wooden houses we have here in San Diego because those would be completely destroyed. Over here, we have Typhoon U2, October 24th, 2018. According to CNN, U2 is the strongest storm on record to hit the remote island communities of Saipan and Tinian, the largest of the Mariana Islands, home of about 55,000 people. It's also one of the strongest storms to ever hit a U.S. territory and one of the strongest tropical cyclones on the planet this year. So, once again, they use cyclone when it's a typhoon. And this isn't a U.S. territory. As I said before, Guam, similar to Puerto Rico, is a U.S. territory. Saipan, Tinian, and the rest of the CNMI, those are Commonwealth. We as American citizens cannot buy land in Commonwealth, but you can buy land in U.S. territories. And also, they're missing Rhoda, the other third island that also got hit hard by Typhoon U2. Okay, so here you could see, I like this picture, and the reason I brought it up is you could see these concrete buildings over here that are still intact, but look at this mobile home, right? You could tell there was another part of it that just got completely destroyed, showing you how strong these storms are and how important it is for these people to have more concrete material built for their homes. And so I took a couple of interviewed a couple of my friends and took some quotes from them that lived through these storms. The first one said it was a devastating typhoon that permanently changed Saipan's infrastructure and way of life. I have another quote here saying, "We barely had the budget to recover from the first typhoon before being repeatedly hit with more storms, and we've barely recovered today." Another quote, "Heartbreaking to see and accept the devastation Mother Nature can inflict upon a tiny island like ours." And then another quote, "It was traumatizing. It taught me to take the necessary precautions to prepare for disasters. I'm still very anxious about typhoons till this day." So as you can see, the effect it has on the residents of the NMI and how they've been affected by this natural disaster. And I don't feel like there's been enough attention brought to this when I see the news. Like they'll cover it for 1 to 2 days, but if it's like something in the mainland, so like Hurricane Harvey or Hurricane Katrina, like it's like constant hourly updates. And I don't know if that's because of the distance between us and Saipan, or it's because it's not really connected to the United States in a sense. But I feel like if it was Hawaii, we'd very much cover that on an hourly basis, like the natural disaster with the volcanoes they experienced recently. So I just wanted to bring this to light to the people of the United States and classmates and whoever may stumble upon this video. And if you're wondering ways you could help possibly from these natural disasters that these citizens face, well, Monetarily, if you wanted to donate money, these are websites you can go to. You just go on Google, you type it in, and usually they have tabs where you could search. If you have trouble finding that, I did leave my email in the first page. So if you feel free to rewind the video and get that, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have. Like I said, this is a very strong topic, a strong subject to me and my family. And if you wanted to donate like supplies, like any like water, battery, flashlights, non-perishable food, then there are certain locations only in California that I found. So here's one in San Francisco. Here's another one in Sacramento. And here's another one in Long Beach and Los Angeles. And so if there's ever another typhoon that occurs, well, that will occur, it's eventuality because as you can see, there's so many typhoons that occur. But if you ever stumble upon the news and you remember this video and you want to donate, just remember uh, those websites and remember those locations. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask because I'm more than willing to answer any questions. And then here I have my reference page. And that'll be it. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.